Tesla. Macam rutin plus dah macam rutin rumahnya pasal di dari macam ni lagi zaman ini general macam ni lerin berada di kita macam suatu ki lerin side event di dalam macam dua cabin sonsar zaman kita cerita macam coba dari macam namun cabin macam katule kacang ci lerin ci kacang we seuta chin juga cabin macam dari macam teachings on melam the arts of expressions in the details in toalu tenki toalu nangbe 대신에 남기로 대가시 각기 제세 중이다 마치 레르 모두 담이 두기 치료를 쏟다 센스가 좀 배려고 대단하시는 가들에 힘이야 이것이 조금 정말로 소세 주의 주의라 다만 시기 대리가 지기 나 정말로 수기 세시빈이 아치지 포멀 레짐집에 주님의 지자체 지도로 림부치 가들로 림부치는 사람이 림부치 신당마도 양충도도 주권이 되나 할만의 당가장 자리장 주의 두배 대 신발배 남선이 대 포멀배 대 샤오배 강남배 대 샤이세 주일라 대 디빈디 림부치 다 대본 주권이 나루 다리미 자살제 디비에서는 디수기 같이 두 세진 레토나를 라벤스위 카토라를 붙이는 짜지지 마차베서 얘기 도산 지시해진 내리는 도발을 때 때리기가 같이 신발을 샤샤비 레토치기 티신디 남무라 노기에서 주라 남스니 프랙티컬레 나신 수를 했도도에 게이진 다수 참여를 했도도에 때 티칭 나무에서 주민라 티칭 나무들이 같이 해야 되다 유튜브 당 인스타그램 당 틱톡을 해봐 제 마토마시 톱진 때 yen다로를 남에서니 선물을 받도록 두세 주민라 때라로진 다 피해 주고 주로지마 다 구루부지 바사군디 차상나 주의 장세 때 지가 세번을 노서 주의 장세 아주 까놓은 남선이 세번을 받도록 때 오면들 남선이 벤도베스 주니 디즈니에 대루치 다 실업수에 때라로진 대루치 바수미나루 르루치 바남 당으로 사사비 주가를 르루치 what should I practice or what is this 소미를 유지세로 대치들을 치르기에요 대 what is this million times practice 되기를 노유당 땅으로수 다른 엄시를 바라볼라 내가 나의 주두수자 시절과 나의 중하다 난 시절을 바랍니다. 또 쌈비키나 옮겨야 나무지야 생겨 붙이는 만자다 물론 남바가 소송하니 남에서는 반토라다 안수가 내리기 다리마치 때려놓지 다리 지나오기 학벌도 라이프 스트림의 조입에 인기 조망 나님의 안에도 다 자민이 시절에는 지금보다 제디게 되는 까로 까치 나오기 남에서는 벤토비게 레와당 되는 자민가 무화과를 주시기 자민이 시절에는 지금이 자민을 시절 오늘당 내 문명과 오늘이 대통령 수가 레주메 주출이 레와이 세시입니다. 그래서 직접하시죠.
You can't hear? You mean you can't hear echo or you can't hear me? You can hear? Is it okay now? Better? Okay, I'll be shouting all the time. No problem. Okay. So, I was asked to do this, give you some ideas from Vietnam. I have requested the organizers to project Jagisam Kunduzango, Samantha Bodhisattva, not to be mistaken with the Samantha of the Nyingma tradition, the blue naked Buddha. Obviously, this is not naked. When we do prayers, one of the popular or favored or treasured prayer we use, that prayer liturgy is the Sankirtanam Ranidana Raja. We do this a lot, and also during this time, the global peace prayer, a big part of in the Himalayas, also in Bhutan, Jagisam Kunduzango is not so much depicted, right? We are fascinated with
I remember some people Jupiter
of course, we are familiar with the Padmasambhava. But for some reason, this guy not really depicted. I have realized. And that's kind of interesting because it's kind of an important bodhisattva. Just as how we know when you see protection and so forth, this bodhisattva is revered, venerated, and treasured for making your prayer legitimate, so to speak. And it's a one of the most important Mahayana Buddha. I believe that some artists has been doing some work. Anyway, just to give you some vague picture for the children, young generation. I have a friend. I have a friend in California. He's no more with us and hospital years ago. He was an expert. He was an expert with the Avatam Sakra Sutra, and he used to always say, Avatam Sakra Sutra is like a Buddhist version of Star Wars. And like Star Wars, only much grander, much more drama, so on and so forth.
И жаргумы чамды чукор телефонинга умашируму неруписа аватаркам сакасудрезани нампага нелен амсам давуди матокла Yung amadak kasubutay bagamba de sambuhay amsam ni ga ja khapchu
Indispensable in with Manjushri. I don't think we have time to go through all the Avatamaka Sutra stories, and I think some of you should at least read some of the stories.
ne asa uma avutaka sakasutru kakote ne namsam disema mana ne gichari ne chera ka chut dustu ke thamnama bini ne namsam chutja ni ne chera ki ono ne sinapina ka majo ani ku anibu sen
But anyway, this Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, is quite popular in China as well, maybe in
근데 상부의 짜이나가 야 자나가 아니라 사람이 많고 아니라
very special mountain called Mount Aine or Mishan, something like that, dedicated only for the Bodhisattva.
자나가 아니라 하고 힌두 상부 두고 되는
So I just want you to take the opportunity that Himalayan friends, Buddhist friends, to just get immediate with at least
Jangan bakal dulu semua yang cara bakal ni rok Hindu sampai kan hebuni turin the anila.
for the actual Manam. Now, some of you have been actually see, some of you have been listening, some of you listening, but I need to speak this for the benefit of those who have not heard. Language is very, very, language is an issue here. Issue. Speaking English, trying, and the word care, global care, word English word care is definitely not doing justice to the Sanskrit word Brahmana or
ni umta umai tempurni hakituke tuliani kokatasu namsami kata dong shuni shuni hai ne jangna inki ani jami ni umai gamena mi pagangka ne inki ani la prayer ani nami onu hamdin ani dinto Likutam cerong tribute jam mas. Anasami tu marbada butuh jam.
something I will try to articulate this time. I will try because Manam is a really, really big subject. You know, in the Maya,
Nung tagi juga menam ko kita su junong neme. Ginjar bine menam ne pokam nam same tik zaptan jam.
I think it is 8th or the 9th Bodhisattva's specific practice is aspiration or the Manam. So it's not it's a very, very important.
Janchusen barokti janchusen bayin guya inabu ono makana ni ayama pita ni ngundra pada barokti kamu ni malam ani ono da tu jang dang ni ono da barokti beja.
Very rich language. It has all kinds of, sometimes even contradictory meaning. Just like the word Tathagata, which is loosely translated in Turkey as the Jinshekwa. Dijinshekwa. Tathagata could mean thus come, and simultaneously it also means thus gone. You can see.
Sanskrit ka lojo anela ni namisami Sanskrit ka lo anela namisami ne lo kay namisami ono pedinjan. Pedinjan oma dokte Sanskrit ke Tathagata ingkate oma algachuki anela Dijinshekwa ni thamini. Ginjagine Tathagata ingela umra oha nata dewa onula putin namisami sabdanja.
Respectful behavior towards something. That is one connotation. And then there's also something even more interesting. And this is something, if we do have time, I mean, we don't have much time, but even if we don't have time today, something those who are serious about this, you should really explore this particular definition. And the definition of the pranidhana is something to do with renunciation of the fruit of an action. Now this is a very, very, we will talk about it, I will try to talk about it.
Citi anela pranidhana ni lamelo tini Sanskrit ka. Onu ka anela veja sapto naloka shuhantur genkantur ani onu da bula. Ni chama misami loko denda bula misami madautu ani hante inche anela. Lei bela ka lei jem no peme. Onu ka renunciation ani onu da madautu.
Paradoxes. And I will tell you one paradox now. So, Buddhists are known to talk about no attachment, no desire, no attachment. Some of you may have heard about it, like no attachment. Yet, when you do prayer, obviously there has to be some desire. You want something, right? I pray for this, I pray for that. So obviously, I think it's the sort of the last chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Just to give you sort of a vague picture, I guess. Oh yeah, then, okay. We also hear Buddhists always say everything, all compounded, and all emotions, all kleshas are dukkha. Reality of life, or the reality or the truth of samsara is a dukkha. And the reality or the truth, meaning you cannot alter, you cannot change. That's the reality. It's a bit like you cannot wash charcoal hoping that it will become white. If the reality of the charcoal is black, no matter what kind of soap you use, it will always be black. So reality of life, samsara, is suffering, is imperfect, etc., etc. But then we talk about prayer. What are we praying for? If it is the reality, if that is what we are stuck with, then why we even pray? See?
Ai nampu ko jiten thamjin dunga ramjingila ani ne pete anila khusukai haptur zik ni ani boni khusukai shbali minni la mamani ne zamne ko dunga ramjingila ani onula butur ri tan ne ocharani manam ko chase jamani onda ugine ni menam he hamule onda bulami.
Really, if you decipher birthday
Hindi
wishes.
omer abot ang sa kasudarge ona ju ka kahit pangin.
You should be mourning on that day because you are getting 1 year older than the previous one. You should be all crying.
Yung dabnang poga madum panyon. Ne om ai kiwi ga katin. Ona anin sinjame nami sa shon ke. Injam tigine lani
Cultural etiquette, something to think about.
인자는 기대분이 쌤 쇼는 만요 쌤 다술 파미킬레다 보니 랑구라 치워가 라가라가 싶어다 보거나 네 맨날 보감이 옴니 로티가 키위님가니 만나는 분들이 아니 오늘다 분들이 버티는 몸이나 오늘 해보겠나
Then the word pair alone could lead you to some misunderstanding, such as, usually when we do prayers, we always seem to think in terms of a higher being. I will pray to so and so, someone who is more mightier, more powerful.
네, 오늘 남이 그런 치료 아니 하고는 된다고 생각하잖아. 네, PT 아니라 매일은 타복감 땀나 부랑이 같은 것이 매일은 PT 아니라 장고는 좀 나는 그리지 오늘도 붙잡. 네, 오늘도 무기.
I think an important question that we can ask. By the way, I have received so many questions. I will try to.
네, 오늘도 뭐 주고 부랑이랑 진지하게. 네, 장고도 주 망포냐 봐. 네, 엄청 탈로게 네 막이고 자해 주니 막 디스트 이들 자산 먹게 약간 이 쓰는 바람에 방대도
Okay. Here, among many, pranidhana, men lam. So, menam, right? Men lam. So, the word menam also indicates prayer is a means, is not an end, because it's a lam. Lam, you walk over the lam, and that is not the end, that's not your destination. You use the lam or the road so that you are supposedly, you will reach to wherever you are trying to reach.
네옴프라니다나 멜라미 베런가 주탄주 추수 그런 주춤에다 보는 인자리네 보니 망이 멜라미 포가 멜라미 포가라니 당미가 람추다 셰비가 브랑투점 오늘 플루스케는 게라 이네 망포기랑 상지면은 그 현장이
One very beautiful determination in the Zangyeonam is Gambokimji Dachyo. In front of all the Tathagatas, in front of all the Buddhas, I shall go, I shall approach, I shall, advance myself. Now, even that very sentence is quite a magnificent, incredible sentence.
내 오늘 하는 상기단 점주는 탐지가 그거뿐이지. 리포르가 오늘도 안 아이 너무 싸민이야. 지하철 제도도 없잖아.
Of the present, and even to those who have not yet enlightened. Now, this doesn't mean that I will wait until they get enlightenment, and then when they get enlightenment, I shall go to them. No. According to the Pranidhana Raja, even before they got enlightened, your attitude is there already enlightened. You see? So,
내 어머니 배가 상기고 어디 뒤힘을 상기 있다고 뒤마음보가 상기는 탐지가 그거 아니 언니 나는 같잖아 내 엄마 상기는 있는지 뒤마음보 주는 상기 그값이 이 장난만 한국에서 아니죠 로티가 상가 그값이 진기에 로티 그거 온다고 아예 아니 본인들은 다 하버리가 뭔가 네로 프라시널 다나라지 방송마제 네라니 쌍 망가이 버기고 버니랑 거 타게 참여랑 거 배제 네부랑 거 그래서 랑 거 쇼탕 라니 베안
I shall actually utter sound that gets appreciated or that gets received as a message by all kinds of beings. And using this, I shall share the truth. But this is a very, what do you call it? Just
엄청
anyway.
오늘가 보자니 장고 마음이 차시 복감이 시간 안 쉬는 틀라면 오늘 거기 나로가 센전 탐진 이쇼랑 배워가 예옥디범 나로게 있는 복감이 오늘 된다 그러시는 누가 되는 것이 산재기가 아니 대법가 구미가 아니 오늘부터 하고니가 비난 오늘부터 보면 남산이 마도 아치치 않는다고
Actually, it is not so much praying to somebody up there. It is this determination, generating the determination that I will do this. I alone will do this. So generating the determination. Okay?
니 엄마 아이가 뭔가 대것을 보는 한대자이냐니 아시죠 면은 밥에 복감도 디치로 까탕 타려고 그거 까터려 통에 긴장기네 모는 만기 맨날 미간슈니 엄마 쌤가 쌤밥 마신 바 쌤슈가 일베다 부터긴 장투기 오는 거 아니 아니 온다부터
The flour and what do you call it? Yeast, right? Yeast. They don't remotely look like a bread. Flour is flour, powdery, yeast. I don't know how they actually look like. I think I've seen yeast somewhere. But anyway, the yeast looks like a yeast, flour, water. I don't know, egg, all of that. Do they use egg? No. Sorry. So they don't remotely look like a bread. But someone who is good at baking bread has this complete confidence with the right attitude, with the right baking, with the right, I don't know, timing, bakery, machine, whatever, the oven, whatever, you can already plan. Come tonight, I'm baking something. And you already can plan. You can already plan the bread, the slices of the bread, the cheese,
이게 어머니 파음당 목비해 망고를 탈락감이시로 그렇게 망고를 마시려면 미롱진 고이버까지 망고를 오늘 프로스께는 오늘 망고티주 기스는 송해가 셈까 아니면 록세 노르지 아니면 때문에 야 티노미네라지 디지도 망고를 해줬잖아 오늘은 사리가 오늘 프로스께
we are believing that our prayer will work. Our prayer will work. Now we need to decipher this word also. What do we mean by work? What does it mean? Work. Because supposedly all the Buddhas of the past, they have done prayers. So what does work mean? Does it mean that, okay, whoever have done some prayers, may there be no, I don't know, war, may there be no sickness, may there be no this and that, or the ailment. If the past Buddhas have done that, and this is the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, and since they are sublime being, their prayer should work. Well, looks like it hasn't worked. Because we have wars, we have ailment, we have all sorts of problems. So we should also really think about what does it mean by work? So these are the things.
Ni umay minantapigan ko unang sa bilik ng lalaki. Ya jinta kon melan kay typen ani hangtin hanggo ni ne petyanela nosanimela ko pasangila janchtan ba tham chikara malam tamni rokti nam sami chodo jurbo onda butukila mado tukila ani ni rokti bete melan tamni nani kile rokti bu melan tabagila ani Gonela, ni umahangte na mesami ta niyam ki tatse onyelami ni melam ta buka type gila ani jaminam type ani onela butuja ai lepanyan type kan kibu yenda hangila mo hago kilame
This time, what, 6-7 days? Is it? And we usually do every day, maybe some of us. How long should we do this? Well, according to the Zamcha, what does he say? Namki tatuk juba jisam semjen malutang deshin jisam le nyamong tajuk dagunam tang desam. From this stanza, no end.
ne umata duga ay examining melan chim chung jami nam hatu jong mai khung dang jong mai ne ne bagda che bagda ta na bo melan ta jami ne se bang mi jami ha iti saken iti judu sa ani zam je melan ga ha chon unje judu se ma ani
So now you can see, I'm just giving you a little taste of how Pranidhana works. So it's a really, it should not be taken as a very, it's not a simple act, okay? And then of course, what should we pray for?
ne mai prani kana ko ne kita jadi kin jabe ne prani kana ka kishini no ya no da betul melan ka kishini nam se umai shumala no da betul nusan yang betul plan minna mangyo
I don't know, whatever, success in this and that. But from the Pranidhana's point of view, chances is that they will not really work. Okay, to begin with, okay, I pray you live long. I do actually. I do pray you live long. But there's many questions for that. What do we mean by live long? Maybe 5 minutes more? Maybe that's all you need, right? Maybe that's all you can handle. What do you mean by live long? You want to live long, 100 years? Are you really sure?
ne
Are you serious?
melan ka khatuge ani ko ne mapa ai bakini melan ta begang ha ta che
And the long and the short.
ne melan ta begang ko ji terbari mo mani ne melan ka shini nam sami ta poka omarang shondro ohida butung mancha petyanela jib melan ta chani ne bakam chang cheri mo ani jutuna ani ne cheri mo ye poka hangir hatugile cheri mo kan go pikile mai 야네라 님은 하시던 나를 티스르거니 체리만 주의가비야 너 숨져 싶지 않니 뭐마랑 졸라마 뭐니라 뭐마 줄에 일라마
I think if you are doing a business, you should really be working for the profit, not the bonus. You understand? Because if you get distracted by the bonus, it can really ruin the strategy to make profit. So these like longevity, success in this and that, fame, whatever, it could be a bonus. Yeah, so
네, 처음 펠러가 그 캡성 자스పె면이 캡성만 기원이 보너스 아니에요. 다수 망분용 비가 게보 온다고 들라메. 네, 체질물로 남미사미 렉부디얼로 민담촌 온 거의 집을 또 감남사노노 캡성나부터 동맞죠. 보너스다부터 동죠.
So let's go back to the bread. Okay, bread.
미지국의 범부지를 자세히 보면 온 거의로
When we see the yeast, the flour, the water, whatever, the oven, you have this belief that bread is possible, more than possible. You can almost say it's done. So with this, using this as an example, when the Mahayana people do the prayers, such as the Sangchamanam, what we are doing is we are looking at all sentient beings, every sentient beings. So I hope the organizers are not going to be too upset, but I would say even this time we have named this festival as what? Global Peace Prayer, right? Global Peace. From the spiritually, from the Mahayana point of view, it's a wrong title. What is globe? Globe is just this round thing, right? How many continents there? 5 continents? There's nothing. It's like the smallest. So here, Dilchik Tengna, Dunya Sanjanam, it says. For the Mahayana, beyond the globe, aliens, all sentient beings, we are supposedly praying for that. So anyway, sentient beings, the Mahayana attitude is like this. For the Mahayana attitude is
범부지를 자스럽니 보감요. 다시 밤로 네 복비도 통감니 오마시 그때 옹니가 브리트 카니 범부지에 지금 프스케는 게네. 네 오늘 프스케는 아동면은 다 그런 거니.
never sees even one sentient being that will not become enlightened. Because the real, what do you call it, the ingredient
거니 센진 탐문스가라는 연인이라.
being enlightened, sentient
네 오마 타가 두고 아니라 남는
savvy and big,
나는 벤자민이 내가 마야는 게 아니지 볼감이 아니라 가서 많이 답답하다 보통자 잠불리 뭐가 한가인 게 합쳐서라니 남보가 아니라니 잠불리 뭐가니 니 그스가니 미니통 뭐가 센체 마통 뭐가 센체 하더라죠 센체 탐체니 보다고 오늘부터 그 맞추받아보다
yes, maybe
네, 그래도 정보가 아니로 은혜는 그렇게 아니라는 아이 센진 탐진이 상 베이비가 온다고 그렇게 아니.
or not, you will still exhaust. Right? You will still, there will come a time for an end. End is a big part of life anyway, So, longevity and yes, in a way, maybe I'm trying to provoke you a little bit, but I think my provocation is important. In a way, even in world peace. Really? Possible? Is it really possible? World peace? So, actually, we ask this question to Buddhists. What is peace? I will come to that later.
미지 오마 타기 줄까 내 다이본 세마 셈바고 괜찮네 네 지리네 바까 셈가 다라지네 네 내가 레고 그냥 아닙니다. 네 투정남자 에바 네 잠불리가 시대 안 온다고 해라가니 야 잠불리 탐제라니 가톡 톡톡 오르가니 나뭐 오에다 보는 있는 것 같까 탐제라
Not working. It won't work.
명절 시대 보고 어선 먹기려면 시대가 개항기려면 기쁘다간 개항기려면이
You know, if you have like a flour, yeast, all of that, then yes, probably it may take long time for you to bake a bread, especially if you are new. And you might need a lot of gadgets like an oven and this and that, probably, if you are not good, if you are beginner bread maker. But if you are very, very good at making bread, then you don't even need a proper oven. You can just magically, somewhere in the forest, you can just create bread. This exists.
네 목비당으로 탐주되더니 니 범부트가 시민을
And supposedly, since we are doing the Pranidhana Raja, supposedly we have this attitude, looking at all sentient beings, we are looking at, 99% of the actual enlightened state is done. If you have flour, yeast, water, big part of the bread making is finished. If you are lacking with the yeast, little bit of a problem. If you are lacking with the, what is it, flour,
범부트가 고당부트를 니 차가만라니 범부트를 장원대 주면라니 오늘 타부 마차스바니 모르는 거니 범부트랑 비슷한 믹사니 저그를 그러니 오늘 프로스케라니 타오마 아예 프라지나다나 사만다바를 kintu상고가니 로크다운 범부트라카니 범부트랑 범부트레이션 마다브라마니 저베트르스던 프로스케라니 kintu상고기 한제제네라 조르주센진 탐지니 쌍마르바사케 지면하다페 아니 오늘부터라마니 오늘 프로스케니 로키바키 소도베 마기오노
just rest. Bread is done. Understand? It's like, consider is done. That is the kind of the determination and the, what do you call it, attitude with the pranidhana. So here you can see, you actually don't really need a higher being to make it happen. You don't need a higher being to, make the bread happen. That's what I'm saying. As long as there's all that thing, the yeast, flour, all there, and you know how to do it, the bread is considered done. Likewise, yes, limitless sentient beings, full of emotion, anger, desire, jealousy, etc., but as long as they are sentient being, 99% of awakened state is achieved, finished, considered done. That's why the Mahayana people had the Mahayana, not just Mahayana, all the, the confidence, that's what the confidence of the prayer is based on this. Okay, so what was it? Some other questions that I was raising earlier.
네 아예 옴디나 하고 목비당 파함가이촌다니 오늘 다시 쫓다니나 타방한 그중에는 추모마이 나도 아예 범주개념 빼면 주고 자리가 오늘 불스케라니 엄마타 아이가 쌤진 탐진 합도진 탐진이 초모마도 루즈비가 쌤시가 시랑원다고 말하는다자니 내 엄마 다사만다바라 아니 오늘도 뭐 프라지나 라자 아니면 아메리카가니 오 쌤진 탐진 가니 쌍마가이바사게니 오늘부터니 너는 답답가니 자체가 아니라 국주고 그탐바 니 범부치용 받아보기라니 내 죽도 스파니 추마다고
So in the Chöke Dharma language, Shiva, Shiva. Nyangele Depani Shiva Or sometimes we also use the word nyangende de, meaning gone beyond, sort of gone beyond dukkha or the pain or limitation. That's what nyangende de means. So anyway, I know peace can mean a lot of different things for a lot of people, right? Peace, harmony, peace.
Ne Zambuli Kajite Kukami.
Everybody does whatever Washington says, then
Zambuli Kajite Aljuela Marutan. She did reveal a Zambuli. Now, young Devani, Ono, Jamai, and the Nampakation. Ono Ashi Marotu Benjamin, Devaka. Ono Kashini 나무도 비가 오늘하고 탐지랑 다르니 오늘하고 말을 두자매?
In fact, the other way. In fact, we have more war, more conflict. If you rewind our history, we know this very well. So, what kind of peace are we talking about? In Buddhism, Shiva, the peace, actually is not, of course, no war would be nice, no domestic fight would be nice, no international fight would be nice. That's a bonus. If you have it, fantastic. If you don't have it, not that of a big deal. I'm telling you, for the Buddhists, okay? So for the Buddhists, peace is really, quintessence of the peace is non-duality. I know this is a bit hard to chew, but basically, as long as you have a duality, you will always be in extreme. You will always fall into extreme. And as long as you fall into extreme, that in itself is violence. Extreme is violence. Duality is the great grandmother of violence. Non-duality is the peace. So this is why in Buddhism, actually, in Buddhism, they don't talk about ultimate good or ultimate bad.
엄마낭방하니 내빠니 내밖에 제방에 하고 말도 이게 기빠간 대신이 듀얼리티 아니라니 장가길라 가길라 동길라 로길라 장길라 오늘다 뭐 니리 빠삐가 엄마네라 기고 엄마 그래서 오늘다
And bad and achieve liberation.
이거는 뭐 니리 치프가 닉진 가자면 이리 보자모 니 로카 장가 오는 게 많은 데네쇼 오는 게 많은 데네라 이도 지레 뭐마해요 빌라 네 랑가랑이 오는 게니 닉진 개박비가 주네라니 내가 맛배랑이 에바 탐자랑이야 동할가랑지는 빌라 밀라니 오는 게라니 그용 빌리용 소르쇼 네 엄마 니리 빠삐가 자매 니리 빠빠가 해쇼 아비 오노하고 딱 맞아 뚜둑진 소리가 뚜둑진로 딱 맞아 오노가 아비 미미한 제자매 오노 해쇼 네 오노기라 아니 니리 빠삐가 해
For Buddhists, for the Mahayana people, the people who live in this house called, what is it? The name of the house, Sadabad complex. Sadabad complex, do you know, in Iran? So for Mahayana Buddhists, people who live in Sadabad complex in Iran are not less or more evil than those who live in 10 Downing Street. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying, but I'm being a little bit sarcastic here. Basically, what I'm saying is that the Buddhists don't see people who live in Iran, this government complex, is not necessarily less or more evil than people who live in London, 10 Downing Street. The concept of non-duality is like the essence of the peace. So, for Buddhism, especially the Mahayana Buddhism, this peace is achieved, especially by the beginners.
Ni kita ni jadi kadang ni cuma kayak ada ni non-duality ni rimbak bermakan.
And this is actually the sort of the most quintessential subject of the Abhidhamsaka Sutra. It really talks about the amazing projection of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the, but this is very, very difficult for us to understand because we cannot understand, we cannot. If your projections and if your opinions are validated by large amount of consensus, but this is very, very subjective because just because 8 billion human beings believe that water is a water, actually, it doesn't mean much. There is only 8 billion people deciding water is a water. There's like how many trillion fish who thinks this is something else? So many times the consensus doesn't even matter. But anyway, if we could just appreciate, if we can understand that everything is just our projection, everything is just our opinion, then you are beginning to have a very important tool or a condition to do the aspiration. So,
Ni ai tha song juri minjame jiri la jamil gila ni ta kam ni ono kaya nam san tu mangi mai hai jamsun ka na hatur chale dungju chita buta ono baki o jiri la minjame ono mangi mai ni jina ka o hai shahani ke o ai tam jira rangi mile o rangi thong ya jangi thoma thushigina ani jim thau thushigina ani onura tu samni go gotu kile onura tu gotu nimani rang karna lakcha chwa da gotu ya amena da biga lakcha tu rang karna shi pada bukila.
And then also in the prayer we have things like we aspire to understand one eon as a one moment as one eon. This, I think, you can understand this.
Yung chai ka meron na ki foundation je engela jang kai ki meron na tap chana ani dungju jiwa ani dichi chon ani dichi shekutur tumbutur gilani ne onu ba onda hago lika namsani ha tasman lupe 네, 오늘 저한테 아니라 좀 강한 거좀 해드리니 디제들이 하이 내리랑 만나다 보니 차라가 가덕도 아니디 촌에라니 디제들 오마랑 춤하다 너니 그더러니 바기 캔나마니
If you know that here we are praying, may all sentient beings, all of them, be enlightened. We will not be bogged down by this fear. Oh, really? How long does that take? Even for one sentient being.
여러분들 하리고 되시면 오늘은 답변가 오도를 생긴 탐 세상가 있잖아 아니 오늘부터 빨람당 배가가니 야네 사절랑 정면하니 야 뒤치 합들 걸배야 아니 오늘부터는 나 소원이 잠배 아니
What do you call it? Aspiration. I better look at the time. Am I doing all right with the time? How much time do I have? Oh, yeah. Okay. A little bit more, and then if we have time, we can go to some questions. So, so these are what we call sort of a very small glimpse of Mahayana aspiration, Malayalam. I opted to talk like this because I thought to talk about aspiration for the world peace, the harmony, the longevity, good ecology, all of that, that's given. I think you already know that, and that I'm not negating that. It's good. You should, but I think we can always advance our knowledge. We can upgrade our approach to Mahayana.
인장이네 오늘다 모두 농산민이 길다 감치로 여라 아니 저자들이 이타고 디오들라메
And
강이 면남 답초메 가니 면남 답변가 잠시리 이제 와주가 장기 면남 답바야니
for what was the aspiration for me, for the world, I mean, from me. So, yeah, I actually did have a kind of a clear aspiration when I was doing the prayer yesterday. I wanted to really I really prayed, aspired, wished that human beings will have empathy. More than anything, empathy. I think, like when I say empathy, I'm talking about adults.
Ai song bakani na mesa mining ji rangin na lo ka song ha boligar rangin tu jina ni na tapa ya ai song chilu kai wakse zemo kai ka ha boliga ni zemo gi chilu ka ha boliga onu da butur oduna ani mena tapa
Men have empathy about or with or regarding women and vice versa.
예, 폐업적이 아니라 명확하게 하고 있는 명확적인 폐업적이 하고 있는 거.
Empathy with the Russians.
네, 아메리카기 러시아가 하고 있는 거, 러시아기 아메리카가 하고 있는 거. 어느 거다 봐.
I think that empathy is such an important value Basically, in someone else's shoes, I pray. And to conclude what I say here, I pray, and I'm quoting great Master Jigme Lingpa. I pray that that 100 things that you wish will never come true. And I wish that 1,000 things that you dare not wish come true. You understand? Dare not wish come true. Okay.
Ni oma jimling pagi gope suno zema wono puskeran jimne baka hang ne baka hang milan tapi ne nai baka jam chatham wono he odun nungchuna ne baka milan tapi manjuan ni ne baka yong kiriga mangtuna ni one mi kangeshul oduna ani
There's one question that says, technology aims to make us live longer and comfortably, while Buddhism teaches us to detach from all of this. Will these two paths ultimately conflict?
Ni oma tajutula nang pagi anela ni namisan chapadang mo pesho ni tinung che didong namisan mo no haya padon yung kaita tumana dia ni Gilan yung ano kay may nang ta matuna ke namisan mi kakchi lugila jimya nila
Don't you think? What else? I may sound like I don't believe in this world peace. No, I do. I'm just telling you that
Niji tagi jule ka nebaki no samijave o ma tinong che penamini azambulika melamika uno khaiga din maju ada budumi jave ne mangi jingi din marjinja
look at so-called global or the world much in a grandiose way.
Niji tagi pegang ka hangi che zambuling terus mangi mampu ani go to sagulan
Country, the world, but also it would be better, or I don't know, it's more importantly, people should really aspire for not going into extreme. And way to do so is by really educating ourselves, thinking that everything is just our projection. Really, there is no reason to be that, extreme and that fanatical. After all, it's just your projections. Okay?
Yes.
Any more?
Yes, sir.
Another question, Mr. Ritchie. My father insists me on joining programs in person, but I
Prefer to treat TV or online.
ni oni ro diriti ka bulan na se baden shi ka ni pura jang no samno to shikla ani no ga tudmi ila ni o majiwa ni la jawa apa lo ila
But it's not for all of you, okay?
ni tagu ila ni shi bi ma shi ani ni tasi bi ran ni mo ani ni ila
End up not doing both. And I don't, please do it online while you are taking shower, doing whatever you are doing.
ni no da pe mo nam ni on da ta oni na akili mo ani ono he mangi ani ram te la ham ni ta pe
While doing aspiration prayers, most often I feel like I am faking it. Is it normal? Will it ever lead to a genuine feeling? Any shortcuts, sir?
ni umchang jo shang ni jangmelam ta pe gang jang jang de so de pe wa ta ko na neon kai couch lugil mo shame ko to philip la mana environment denda sho denda chola jiwasho jiwanam samile kula
Faking is similar to the earlier one, isn't it? At least you are faking it. Otherwise, you are not doing at all.
macho hangrang ma hetani macho hang ma ko geta macho bigile
Smart here. This is actually written in the text. If you ever read some of the Buddhist texts, right at the beginning, first line almost, "Ngenjung gi lo che," or sometimes they even call it things like che rim, which actually has the connotation of faking it, like like cultivating it, fabricating it. Because you need to get used to that value. Okay, you already kind of intellectually believe
정말
that.
하기 비건가 진짜니 좀이 jamana 오늘하고 비슷한 게 그런 진짜 그래서 세번만 게 남북한이나 미산 샌디 좀이 오늘다고 아니잖니 오늘 프로스케는
Bad for your lungs, it's bad for the environment, etc., etc. You know this very well. You in fact teach this to others, but you smoke because you are addicted to it. So now you want to quit it. So I think the first step is faking it. Like, okay, only 2 cigarettes, but then you end up smoking 3.
엄청 비디 아니라랑 니 tamkukai macam just bugun pegilan na ko na sami rangsha jamini ne talagang ka ya tinong tinjami namin turjami si jammi pinjami tinjami ka samjam ono ni mau geta ni awajabe ani jotpatabe
To make this gathering worthwhile, because everybody is just it's just blabbering. There's nothing much. You can forget all of this. But anyway, to make this gathering worthwhile, I'm going to read
다 감정 좀이 tinong kai dasu leputu chopeteni jita nalakai nalakai
Методом 처음 쓰는 주도들 중 마음에 좀 들었다면 자와달라는 척지 나서다 만나는 지금 꿈을하는 그래서 좀 자와달라는 척지 최바가 가나면 제가 대다 자와들이라는 상벌적으로 대도 자와는 차서 척지 샤신 띵모 류당한 뜻이 그거다 지지 대다담들다 그래서 자와는 상지세 저는 또다면 조합이 있으면 대다 비지서 가나면 주지들은 장기를 선정하지 그걸 대단하게 듣는 콜로나는 보고 그냥 있는데 그지들 좋아하는 페이지 값이 이슈 다 테마를 차서 와다 최지 샤워도 지수 이런 부지수 제가 중세다 있어서 탐제 다지 좀 I should at least tell you this. In the beginning of the Sankhya there's something called Yana Dumba. This 7-branch practice, which is basically
상주랑 고벨을 가는
it means this good heart. Good heart is absolutely, it's very, very, very rare. Even between a brother and a sister, and I don't know, father, mother, good heart, kind heart is so difficult. And it is so precious. Once in a blue moon, you would have this good heart. Sort of, kind of, I don't know. It could be a music, it could be something, it could trigger. So this is so precious. Even just general good heart. Now here we are talking about incredibly, what do you call it, just the highest level of good heart, right?
Ai bagi sim kuligan kapan dong butsaga namju namsan kalu namani ni traki pa kan bun namsan khachlo ni kuligan ni
Good heart to awaken all beings. Now that is very, very difficult.
ni jong sim lik pu zang bu ka ko kai to bilega ha bilega ka kai uligan man
This text I'll read it later. Even to
ni
help
ai
it,
sim kai lik pu kai kan sen la sen ni sam ni bilega sim
even that is already very, very good, supposedly. So, because of that, we need merit so that we will have kind heart and good heart and all of that. So in order to accumulate merit, we have things like prostrations, making all
Sure, ni 오늘 부카이 셈릭 부카이 니는 코소 셈진 탐진 상가이 비가 셈오 비가 거데시 수남 차스야 수남 카양게서 찹제 비가 많이 잡는 말은 잡니
tumbar지정으로 자주주보다는 사람들이 침범점 따도 저기 상고집에 수준집에 따도 찜찜집 사이 그다음에 이제 좀 다람이라는 들어가 비슷하게 탐지게 다주 대신 파르친 나도 제스는 지금 버가는 되지 대단한 말을 요청 대단한 무지는 조지지 들어가는 진짜 때문에 지금 잡아지 있는 사람도 보면 봤지. If only you know the meaning of these verses, even the most cold-hearted will have some tears in your eyes, because this is like really like the utmost care and care to
이 탐지기랑 오고 책을 딘듯한 셈하는 야 똑똑하자 있는 미니 보면 아니 오시면 싸면 이런 거 뉴에 장구미 한두 것이 뭐니 탐지라는 구마이 가니 탐지가라니 남산이 잡아둔 게 아니 남산이서
it's also the last chapter of this giant sutra called Avatamsaka Sutra. Please, those who have time, explore this sutra. 니다라는 것 보면
니네 버기시오하게 아무다가 사카수드라카이 아니 다스 시미나쇼
제가 받은 이제 다 팬들들 들어가서 선물집 대단하다 대단하다 이미 선세적으로 만나서 제가 까박을 제가 대단한 집까지 자원을 제주 제주 선물집 만나서 까박을 제가 스바 같은 데가 그런 일단 이제 다시 뜬스는 되는 게 유지되는 유지 신들의 삼집에서 산지 대단한 짰으면 좀 산지 지는 순지 자원이 산지에서 떠도 주민집이 저 같은 데도 그러는 대단하게 수행들을 뭔가 같은 계집집이든 강하게든 계시지는 주민집이 대단하게 지르다 다들 대단하게 요즘은 지는 강하게 자원을 양양인데 버려지지 끈지 다치고 끈지 유이들 저는 끈이 집은 끈을 잡아서 잡아만 버리지 시작부터 뒤지도 말고 선보집은 심해지는 샘진저는 붙여내는 이시집은 쬐바지는 받으면 산지도 제가 가야 뒤집이 선보집은 대단한 자원이 있으리도 가는 개발된 선보집이 리당하다 이제는 집안을 와서 개발되는 끈이 와서 선보집이 잠들지만 집에서 먹어보면 얘는 세종에 제가 참여하는 대표받은 제가 좀 밑에도 지상 선생님을 대신 지상은 다기만 하면 대해서 가야 주시는 시기니 저쪽 대지선에 강사님은 되는 종은 보면 대단히 세대 대단한 대단히 뭐지 참명을 받게 되면 하나님이 대해서 이시는 리다하다는 리다는 리드스 뭐나 자주 시험을 되는 수상에서 자기선 리드는 가야서 뭐지면은 가야서 뭐지면은 차원된 때는 뭐나 대 넘버는 선지 전주적 손님 맞이지. So here it says let's say you you make offerings to the Buddhas with the flowers, incense, water, food, garland, I don't know, all kinds of gifts for eons after eons, and you will have a lot of merit. Yet, even if you possess one word of this Pranidhana Raja, that merit far surpasses the earlier merit. This is the statement of the Sammadvara.
이 한디에게는 상기당 정치선거 버거니아 아시하고 최고 부인이 남의 쌈이야 농동불동 안시 버거니아 쓰는 삭비가 쓰는 두쌍이 기어도 삭배만이 내기 기자는 기내부 오하 프라즈니 자자니 오하 하면은 게 칙툭하게 생한데는 우리가 기억이 못
Since there's a lot of people who want to tattoo, I'll give you a suggestion for tattoo. You should write this. If you have a lot of space, well, hold Zangche, why not? But maybe you don't have that much.
니네베 세번이 남산미와 zuka düğülemani di bilena düğüm. Düğü satomam 부처네 당자를 düğüş니.
대신데 기삼 대당 영웅 타주가 딱이면은 다양 대삼모. It will fit, I think. Now, if you don't have much,
엄청 많이 해서 제모토죠.
Which means may this lower realm be empty. It's quite good.
연하죠. 황태제 온카시 황태가 이송송 센지 말하시는 하니 드시라 가든지.
지도의 적인 정설 경제를 유지하기 때문에 미망으로 진멸함기 꼴에 내세미만 뚜뚜배 이 동화를 숭하미디기 대루노제 배낭이 수준이 디기 대남세미 가라를 행동의 같이 하길래 메라남당 내려보지초 나래와 결과의 발두는 스미기 도의 된 대신 계기에 때때 주어메바베 슈딱도 땡슈이 메라남도 슈슈도세 친체를 베스트가 뒤종기 뜻같이 남부수 대낭디까지 장로이 같이 잘하는 세뇌를 주도 시입니다.
Recording stopped.